Now, here I am looking at updating the Whitney Town Bowls Club website with the competition draws. But looking at the worksheet, so to put a complex worksheet like that on the website and trying to work with the columns on the website is going to be an almost impossible task. So normally if I work with a complex worksheet like this, I would simply work with it in Excel as it is now, and I would make a picture of it and then put the picture or the image, just a screenshot that I will make of a specific part of the screen, and I would save that as a JPEG and put that on the website. Far easier to do. Now if you look at the width of this thing, the width of this thing is wider than I think the size is 1280, which is pretty wide for a website. Now you can see that it is 90% size, so if I reduce that to 80%, that would, or 70% rather, that would give a far better view of what it is. Now the danger with this is the text may be a little bit small and a little bit difficult to see on the website. Now the other thing is, if you make a picture of this, then these grid lines don't look very good in any case. So normally what I do is I switch all the grid lines off and work just with a hard border line. So I'm going to do that now. So the purpose of this video is to illustrate how I go about formatting this properly before I put it onto the website so it looks nice. So all I do is I go there in view and I click on grid lines, and you will see that it's switched off all the grid lines, and it makes the whole thing looks much better. Now you can see the whole thing almost appears on the whole page, as you can see, which is fine. I notice that there's a P on each one of these things, and I have no idea what the P is. So because I don't want to copy it in part of the picture, I just delete it. I see no purpose of what it does. The other thing that I do is I look at the general format. Now I would need a bit of a border on the side, so I'll make that border a bit wider so that you've got something to work in. I would also want something a little bit on the top as well, so I would reduce that so that there's a bit of space over the top, and you can see this is nicely centered across the whole length of this thing. Right, now another thing that I normally always do is I highlight the whole thing and I go into the home page and I would center everything in the middle, because if you merge and center, then you want things to be in the middle, not on top or at the bottom. Right, now the other thing you can see is that sometimes the lines, the hard lines that you see, are not consistent. For instance, I would expect that there should be a line on the top. So if I go back into the home again and I would click there, just click there simply and put a line at the top to make it visibly a little bit better. To be consistent, you will find that the lines on the left hand side and the bottom is also really not needed. So I would highlight that whole block, go in there, say make it no border, but then I want to restore the border there and there. You will see that it's gone, so it looks quite silly. I want to restore the border there, so I'd highlight the same block and I would say give me a top border and give me a right border, and it will put it back so it looks pretty neat. Right, the next thing I would do is I would like to make sure that everything looks nicely centered. For instance, if you look at that, that's fine, you know, because you use a name and you use a score, but there is nothing there. So that name looks a little bit out of place being at the top. And I'm not sure why there isn't any score in there, because between those two it seems like that person went forward to round two, but I've no idea what the score is, so maybe there wasn't any score. In this specific case I'm going to leave that, because maybe there's a score that should go in there. But if scrolling down a little bit, if you look at this as a starting point, then I would center those things. I would merge and center these ones all individually, so it looks a little bit more balanced as a whole, if you know what I mean. You can see that looks far better than that would look. So just aesthetics, but either way, this is a bit time consuming, but it is, the result is very good in the end. So I'll merge and center that as well, and I would have expected that there would be a line through, like there would be a line through on each of these as well. So I'll attend to that a bit later. Let me just center all these first. Pretty, not sure if there's a faster way of doing this, but yeah, it could be pretty boring. So now I'm gonna just draw those lines through. You know, you've got the lines consistently going through even up to there, so I'm just gonna draw it through and see if it doesn't look better. So I want to do a top border. I also want to do a top border there. I want to do a top border there and another one there. Right, that's already looking a little bit better. Now if you look at this, just maybe we shouldn't have lines going right through, it doesn't matter, but or one would have expected that these lines go through as well. Not sure whether I should do that or not. Looks like it should be done, you know, if you look at this, almost like an arrowhead. So let me do that. Let's just have a look and see how that's going to work out. If it doesn't look too bad, then it's fine. You can see everywhere you've got it right through up to the arrowhead, or the simulated arrowhead, and that doesn't look too bad. I think that looks quite good. The rest looks good for me. That looks good, except that I would have expected the line to go through there. I'm a bit finicky, but it sort of separates things a little bit better, as for instance the line there. So you can easily see that these two go together and come into there. And now looking at that thing, you know, of course I can hide this whole thing by clicking on that, which will give me a better view of what I have at the moment. So just change that. Of course that thing now sits in the middle, and I want it really at the bottom. So if I go to home and I just click there, puts it in the model, and there you go. Right, so how does that look? If I would make a picture of that, an image of that, and put it onto the website, then I think that would look a little bit better than the rest. So I need to save, so I just saved it. The save icon sits just outside of the capturing area, but I saved it. So what I've done is I've done the same with the men's signals, I've done the same with the ladies' pairs, as you can see there. I have already done those, so and they all look pretty okay and pretty consistent. So everything looks pretty consistent at the moment. That's that handicap. So and they all are a 70% size. So I'm going to put a 70% up. If that's a little bit too small, then we really need to do something about that. Just want to have a look and see what the size of that is. The size of that's an Arial and size 12, and it's bold. That's fine. That's very consistent with that. And this is 14, which is fine. Right, so save. That looks pretty good. So to the next one. And you will see that all of them basically have the same problem. So I will go through and do the same with all these so that they look like this, and then I will make another video to show how I would make a screen capture of these pictures. Okay, so until next time.